saying people who vote for Trump are bad people, that they're deplorables, that they're stupid, that you're stupid to feel this way.
I think that people watching it are watching right now are just going to be like, dude, come on. You know,
but I'm not an apologist from the outlet. I only control what I say.
And you said a lot.
You can't name one thing that I said.
I got to be honest, outside of the clips that circulate, I was not the #1 CNN watcher, but I do know that you're going to live by whatever you're saying right now, because if I can tell you one thing about Trump supporters, they're good on finding the clips and putting it side by side. They were going to have you in 2016 saying something, and then they're going to have you right here saying, I've never said that.
All right, guys, look, we're going to have to talk about this Candace and Cuomo debate, I guess you could say. Wasn't much of a debate, in my opinion, but just want to go over a couple things.
Then you had a problem with me. Now, somebody's evil because they believe differently than you. I'm telling you, that's not a natural inclination that has been foisted upon you by the people in power who benefit from the division. It only works for the parties. It doesn't work for you. Anger and division works for the parties.
So all of a sudden, you weren't one of the ones contributing to all the division. Come on, man.
But what are you going to do about it? America heard evidence that the president committed a felony while in office this week. He likely knew about the hush money payments, a fraudulent reimbursement scheme, and he lied to you about it all. His party members, supporters, they hear the president is part of a felony in office, shoulder shrug.
So why don't the Trump supporters care? I mean, perhaps because they're just as corrupt as him. Wow.
Lied about bone spurs to avoid the war, lied about deals with Russia, lied about knowing Felix Sater. He may have run a scam with his foundation, may have cheated on his taxes, broken other laws.
Right, because all of those things that you just said came out to be true, right?
Why don't they care? Where's the outrage?
Well, it might be because they're not as dumb as you think, and they knew you were full of.
Don't they get who he is? They get it. You don't get where they're coming from. The people who support this president voted for him because they expect nothing better from a politician. That's the problem, not POTUS.
So the problem was not Trump, it was his voters.
And the reason why he's lying here, this is a simple one. He's playing you for a sucker and hoping you don't read any of these memos. And if you do read it, you don't believe it.
And if you do read it, you don't believe it because you're like a brainless voter. Because remember, it's not the president that's the problem, it's the voter. That's such a unifying message, Chris. Thank you.
It's so much easier for me to beat Candace by showing that she's wrong than showing that I'm better.
What do you think about what he's saying?
I mean,
I concur, Candace. I concur.
everything he's saying sounds good. It's just not the Cuomo I remember on CNN. So I'm always hopeful that people in the retrospect...
I think it's the CNN you don't remember when Cuomo was on
I always just wish that people in the retrospect, because everybody understands humanity, everybody understands change, everybody understands that circumstances makes you see things differently. You know, I remember CNN and you and your brother outside of CNN being really harsh on Trump supporters.
You can do it, but so, just if you got to be right about the clip.
If you can ever look backwards and say, I have no regrets, nothing could change, I was great, I just question your sincerity, because I have regrets and changes about every chapter of my life. And so to hear you say that you have none.
But that's not what I said. Which is, of course,
you said
part of the problem.
a lot of words to say, I never said anything on the network. Things are being attributed to me that I never did. That's pretty much what your answer was,
But that's also the truth.
Okay.
I don't
Like I said, the Trump supporters are fast. You guys, the network also brought us the Me Too movement. And then, like, in the end, your brother got bit by the same bullet that you guys were pretty much throwing at everybody else, which is like, a woman makes an allegation, it's got to be accepted, and a man's life has to be ruined. And so I think that people watching it are watching right now are just going to be like, dude, come on.
Or how about this?
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump Biden 2, sequel's never as good as the first, is a watershed moment for the death of the old white man being the putative choice. I think this may be, in my lifetime, the last time we see two older white guys who don't seem to be on top of their game anymore. And that's a good thing, if that's what it is.
So according to you, you don't think that mentioning the last two white presidents being a good thing would cause division?
Anger and division works for the parties.
But my point is this. What does he offer? What he offers is this. Confederate flag, take it down. Immigrants, keep them out. What's next? What's your next question? That he thinks the way the people who are going to be voting out there often think about things. What are you getting from everybody else?
Problems are not simple. Sorry, do you think people want a Trump?
I think that they are enticed by the plain speaking of Trump.
Apparently, it's a problem for Trump to speak in simple terms and for his voters to like it. It means that they're a little bit less intelligent or something. He tries to claim that he wasn't a divider. He wasn't someone who spoke down to Trump supporters and made them feel less than, but it's obvious that he has a lesser view of Trump supporters.
Doesn't like what's going on with the news. He picks a race battle. It happens time and time again, and you guys defend him.
No, he didn't pick a race battle. He picked a battle, and then the left and you choose to characterize it as a race battle.
And let's not forget the divisive propaganda that he pushed during the coronavirus.
So he emerged from his basement yesterday, from his quarantine basement, making it sound as if it was the first time that he did so. Let's take a listen to that, and then we're going to react to it.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement, cleared by CDC. A little sweaty, just worked out. Happens. This is what I've been dreaming of, literally for weeks. My wife,
So he watched that clip, Crystal, and it makes it seem as if like, oh, Chris is finally coming out of the basement. This is the first time.
First look of him emerging
ever
officially.
Happened. First look. I mean, first of all, I could never do something like that. It's so embarrassing.
CNN anchor Chris Cuomo and a man on a bicycle. The cyclist is now speaking up, and the way he tells it, he was so unnerved by the exchange of words with Cuomo that he filed a police report about the incident.
The confrontation came to light when Cuomo, who is recovering from COVID-19, raged about it on his Sirius XM radio show.
I don't want some jackass, loser, fat tire biker to be able to pull over and get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
We can now reveal that the cyclist is 65-year-old David Whelan.
You're supposed to be quarantining. What are you doing out? What are you doing with all these people? You're not, I said you're not even practicing social distancing.
So I don't know why this guy is acting like he wasn't one of the ones that were causing the division during the time, and he wants to sit there talking about division. I'm not mad at the guy. I just got to point this stuff out because people forget this stuff. There have been so much things that has happened just over and over the past 8 years that people forget about all the things and all the lies that were told on mainstream media. I mean, this was one of the guys that was like one of the main pushers of this Russian agent narrative. And that'll lead us into the next segment when him and Candace discuss Putin and Tucker's interview.
He started in the 8th century. Forget, I mean, I don't even think Tucker thought he was being trolled, right? It's just, well, in 8th century, and he's going through the entire history of Russia, starting from the 8th century, right? And truly, Biden couldn't have started from yesterday at 8 p.m. and recounted what he had done. So there's also this contrast that's playing out.
It's a very good point you're making, because as a leader of a nation, you want somebody to be able to impose themselves. He gave a clinic and taught the world Russian history.
Right.
And by the way, how about yourself? What did you think about it?
I think that it is not good that you're using Vladimir Putin as some type of positive attribute metaphor for a leader.
That's not
okay?
That's not what I did at all.
Well,
you're saying that people
you're saying,
have just
well, he's
seen,
smart.
He is smart. So why would you not acknowledge someone smart? What does that do? Does that make me a Putin supporter? Because you're clearly smart.
No,
if you can sit down and unpack Russian history from the 8th century, what do you mean? What the point? The point is to say that the entire world can now see this contrast of a man who can't remember what happened 2 hours ago, who still thinks that his son is alive, sadly, and often brings up his son as if he's still alive.
True.
What do you mean that's not? What is not true? What is not true, Chris? Actually say what is not true.
You're really going to say that Joe Biden believes that his son Beau is alive?
He has done that on camera. He has said
he has misspoken as an old man that is talking about something that hurts him.
Listen to you. No, because Chris.
Listen, again.
There's no reason to do this. You're doing so great. I'm not going to let you do this to yourself. Like, what? No, seriously. There's no reason to do it. obviously.
Would you want Vladimir Putin to be your president?
This is such a fine statement.
Would you want Vladimir Putin to be your president?
That's not what I said.
I'm asking you a question.
That's not what I said.
I'm asking you a question.
No, but you're asking the question because you still cannot deal with the fact that I have accurately described Vladimir Putin as coherent. He is.
There's no question he's coherent. I'm just saying.
Do you think he's smart?
I think he's an intelligent man, yes.
That's all I said. Oh my God, we got there. We can move on. Good. Listen. Oh my God, we got there. No. It's just, that's all I said, right?
But
okay,
it's
cool.
about why you're using him as an instruction.
Because
I have sat across from serial killers that are intelligent men. I don't want them deciding my taxes.
Did I say that I wanted Vladimir Putin to decide my taxes?
But why hold him up as an example? Why hold him up as an example?
We are talking about
it's like when Trump said Duterte is a tough guy.
Everyone was able to comprehend this, so I'm going to restate it one more time.
One more time.
Okay? We are talking about the State of the Union. I am talking about the mindset of Americans that understand this is all very performative and the insult to have him up there as if he is the leader of our nation. And that
I hear, but you're still using Putin as a positive comparison to who we have. I mean, I don't know what I'm missing in terms of the logic.
This is how I take it,
you are missing.
Chris. This is how I take it from the outside. I take it as I want to know everybody's leader on how they are, how formidable they are, and can mine go up against that leader. If Putin and Biden are in a negotiation table, we're gonna lose.
Yeah,
that's all I'm thinking about. So
the guy's just not being honest, okay? He says, "Oh, what do you mean? I don't get it. What's your point?" She explained it like 4 times, dude. Like. You know, I mean, my impression of him is like you can hang out with the guy, you could have a good conversation with the guy. He knows how to talk, he knows how to get your interest, and it sounds good, kind of like what Candace was saying, but at the same time, you know, he's just full of